returned.
Alfred Hitchcock?
Hey, it's a whole new the podcast all about Disney Channel original movies.
The Birds.
I almost said it's all about Lucas Melby. It kind of is.
He's not wrong.
And I'm joined by...
Jacob Telejohn.
And the birds aren't next to me in the air conditioner in our recording studio, which is very high tech, as I'm sure you've surmised from listening to many episodes of this podcast. But my bedroom is on the same floor as where we record, and essentially I think what happened was we actually removed some like bird nest stuff once, and then we did it again because they seemed to be coming back, and then I think they moved to my bedroom air conditioner. And I wanted to be kind of nice because it's like, you know, our podcast isn't that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Do we really need to bully the birds? Were they very annoying in my bedroom? Yes, they were. Seemed like there was just a billion of them constantly chirping all the time. But I was like, okay, I'll leave them be.
You let them be.
And there would be times where I'd tap on my window or the air conditioner to scare them away. But there'd be other times where I'd tap and I wouldn't see a bird fly away. I'd still hear chirping shortly after.
That's because they were in your bedroom.
I thought that was maybe because I just trained them to not be scared of my tapping. I let that lie for then. And then one day I came back from work, and along the top of the window air conditioner unit, there was just a line of hundreds probably of the smallest, tiniest bugs you've ever seen in your life. And through about some searching, like these were such small bugs that like if there wasn't, you know, like an inch thick of them bunched up together, I wouldn't even notice that they were bugs. But then I start to notice them on my woodwork and trying to wipe them up with like toilet paper to flush down the toilet and then squashing the individual ones. Fast forwarding a bit in Google searching around, I discover that they were what are called bird mites.
Oh my, I've never heard of that.
This aggression could not stand, and we had to investigate once again.
Is that why they were chirping? They're just eating away at these birds?
Well, they were chirping because when we pulled this air conditioner unit in, there was a full-on bird nest with 3 baby birds in it.
Oh, you never told me that.
Well, this happened since we last recorded, and I haven't seen you since then.
They're alive?
They were, and we flipped them out, but they were of an age where they seemed to have been able to fly, and at least looking in the yard around like the next day or so, not dead. But essentially what bird mites are is they... You
didn't drop them from like 10 feet up, did you?
I mean, it's a second floor.
Oh my God.
You know, we just... Hey,
Jesus.
I said I was trying to be nice to them, but if they're having parasitic mites coming off of them, which is essentially what they are, and it's something where I would see people's posts online where it's more like in apartment buildings where like, oh, my building manager took 2 weeks to get rid of this nest, and now I'm still dealing with these mites like a month later. So I think with the combination of getting rid of them, because this was like a full-on nest. Like I couldn't see from like the ground floor or from my window, but it's like recessed into the window place. So we might need to investigate options.
This nest was in here or in your bedroom?
In my bedroom.
Okay. So
we might need to investigate options to like anti-bird, because we've never had issues with birds like this before, but now they've just been... And they're sparrows. What are sparrows even good for? Nothing. Just for pissing me off, probably. Yeah, then... Still, because these bugs are so small, they were still coming out of like my air conditioner for a little while after that. But then I was throwing down like peppermint oil because that's supposed to be kind of an anti-bug repellent. And I think finally now it's been about like a week and a half since the big discovery of the bugs. I think we've kind of averted that. So, you know what? We've at times been known to say fuck Sam Blazing on this podcast, but I think we can change our slogan to fuck birds.
The birds.
I'm not trying to be one of like those dumb Zoomer memers being like, birds aren't real. Birds are definitely real. I got stories to tell you about the birds. They're real enough, and you know what? We don't need them. And don't tell me how we actually do need birds.
Well, actually, Lucas, they serve a vital role in our ecosystem.
See, I don't think sparrows do. I almost called them Spearows, like the Pokemon.
The Pokemon.
But you know something else that holds no purpose in our society? Zombies 2!
Oof.
A series of movies that I was very excited to get to.
Taking shots early on.
In mostly classic DCOM fashion.
Disappointment.
The sequels have between... Well, it doesn't fully hold, but... For the really big things of like High School Musical, Descendants, and Zombies, Teen Beach 2 is better, and Camp Rock 2 is better, but don't count those. The series with 3 movies, the middle sequel is always kind of like the worst one, I think. For the musical ones. I mean, I think a case could be made that the sequel is the best Xenon movie, but definitely nobody's making that case for Z3. And I don't think anybody's going to make that case for Zombies 2, which, hey, 86 minutes, gotta love that, but some of these minutes felt pretty long. And I think we'll just get right into it.
With another animated intro.
Just like the first movie, retains that kind of, I don't even know if I'd really say older style, but it's got a style to it.
In the first movie, it's kind of showing you that the power plant explodes, right? Because somebody spilled a Sprite or something.
Yeah, it jumps around in time in some interesting ways where it's showing like, hey, Seabrook, remember us? Zombies and humans, we're getting along. But like 150 years ago when the pioneers were coming here, and I'm like, whoa, wait. And yes, apparently the pioneers that settled Seabrook fought off werewolves. We talked about how werewolves could come into this movie. They just retcon them in. Oh yeah, we always knew about werewolves.
Yes.
And there's something about, it's not even really like kept as a secret. It's like a secret for the characters. But essentially the werewolves, they have this special stone called the Moonstone.
The Moonstone. Sounds like another Pokemon thing.
I mean, it is.
It is. Yeah, it is.
That's how you get Clefable and Wigglytuff.
Okay.
I almost just said the white people, but the humans.
The whites.
They take the Moonstone from the werewolves, and eventually they use it to power Seabrook through their magic power plant, which then they fast forward again to be like, and that's where the zombie outbreak started, because monsters are real.
Fact.
And pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
And we're back in real life times where we're catching up with Zed, who is our zombie-made character. And
Zombies.
Just like in Zombies 1, he's immediately talking to the camera because that's sticking around. And we catch up with him and his zombie cohorts. We got Zoe, his little sister. We got Eliza, who's kind of his hacker zombie friend.
Yeah,
and
that's a good description.
Bonzo.
So, yeah. Bonzo wasn't a big deal in the first movie. Oh, he was in it, but I mean, this one it almost feels like he's the main star. He's in so many scenes.
I think that was just
very odd. Just
he was in
fixating on him.
But it was kind of like High School Musical 2, where there's a character who I think must have been in the first one, but then he just starts popping up in scenes and like having lines of dialogue, and I'm like, who is this guy? For reference, you can look at the thumbnail for our High School Musical 2 video on YouTube, where I just screenshot it and be like, who the fuck is this guy? And Zed says, every day is better than the last for zombies. Everything is progress moving forward. Then we kind of flip over to our other main character, Addison, who is the cheerleader, because cheerleaders are like zombies.
Yes.
And she has her signature white hair, though this time it might still be a wig, but it's a wig that looks far less bad.
It looks
than
like
the
real
first
hair,
movie.
yeah. I feel like it's actually bleached and dyed or something. It looks normal.
And she is at cheer camp, which is run, of course, by Bucky, her cousin, and captain of the cheer team.
Very flamboyant.
And, well, you know, if he is gay, he's a closeted homosexual who hates gay people.
And people of color.
Well, he hates everybody.
Everybody.
Who's not a cheerleader human.
True.
And he is there with his crew, the ACs, who it doesn't matter.
JC. So yeah, one of the ACs was had to get replaced by somebody named Kevin.
We're not going to go into it. But there's zombies in the cheer squad. There's not a lot of continuity because it's like, oh, but didn't the first movie end where like there wasn't much of a cheer team, but then like they were okay with the zombies?
Yeah, but remember, you know, I mean, we kind of mentioned it today, but like how Bucky didn't change. He was still kind
the
of
main continuity
like
is that Bucky is still racist.
Yeah,
and I assume that will carry over
piece of shite
into Zombies 3 as well.
Yes.
And they're at cheer camp. There's a bit where like Addison's trying to write letters to Zed, and Zed's trying to like write letters to her, but then the ACs are intercepting and destroying them, and it's like
turning them into pom-poms that then she waves around.
Yeah, it's like why do they care? I don't know. And we
just like to be very controlling.
We learn about the power plant, which is of importance because we know mostly from the intro. We kind of can put the pieces together. That's where the Moonstone is, and they're going to be tearing it down. Meanwhile, we also set the stage that Prawn, which
not
is...
Not prom, prawn. Prawn.
This was something that Jacob learned, is that prawn is another word to refer to shrimp.
I didn't know that.
Which is the mascot of Seabrook High. So
yes.
Jacob... So the joke is that instead of prom, they call it prawn, which is weird. And Jacob's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And then we get our first song, which most of the songs in this movie, basically every single character is involved in.
Yeah.
So here we're cutting between like Seabrook and then the cheer camp. And, you know, everybody's singing. It's called We Got This. It's not very good.
Yeah, we didn't like this one.
A lot of the music in this one, which I guess is similar to the first one, but I don't know. There was maybe some more distinction between music, but a lot of it is like generic pop music.
Yes.
So yeah, We Got This. Essentially, we're all working together to move towards
we're all in
progress
this together.
Zombies and humans, we're working together. We're in harmony. And Bucky is shooting at us with what's called the Buckzooka.
Yeah, which basically, like, he was like launching people into the lake.
He was shooting water.
I thought they were like shooting them into like a lake or something.
He was shooting like water at people who were like going through like an obstacle course or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't think
it was a weird visual.
Wow. It's hard to pay attention to what's happening in a movie when you're not paying attention.
You know, I watch.
Because Jacob turned to me at this point and says, "Is this the first song in the movie?" And I'm like, "Jacob, we're in like 10 minutes in. You're watching this movie. You should be able to tell me it's the first song."
I did like the obstacle course, though.
I thought Jacob was going to say, "In my defense, I was on my phone the whole time."
I did like the obstacle course. So, yeah, they had like a climbing wall, then kind of like a tightrope walk.
For the cheerleaders, by the way. You know.
Yes.
Because they're cheerleaders and obstacles all the time.
Yeah, I've seen the climbing wall, kind of wanted to climb, but those years are behind me.
And my next note is this movie moves so fast. It
is.
Bang, bang, bang. Scene, song, everything's just happening.
To remember everything.
Well, they don't expect you to remember that much because they're like, well, only remember certain things from the first movie, which we'll call out in this one. And then they'll just introduce new stuff. So then it's like, all right, cheer camp's over. They are taking the bus back from cheer camp. And then Zed wants to ask Addison to prawn. And he's like, got some weird, like, Rube Goldberg contraption that first looks like he's about to, like, blow up the tires of the school bus.
Yeah.
He's stretching a string out across the road.
But yeah, as the bus goes over, you know, or triggers these signs, you know, fall one by one, like, oh, Addison, will you go to prawn with me, basically, is what's going on. And the bus, which is being driven by a prawn, it hits the ladder that Bucky, or that he's standing on, and goes down into the Forbidden Forest, basically.
Not the Harry Potter one.
No.
And then, the bus crashes, and everybody's like, kind of okay, and then Addison's like, wait, I saw Zed. So then she goes running off through the forest.
And it turns to nighttime all of a sudden, and she's just surrounded by people.
They're werewolves.
We're werewolves, yes.
And then they're gone.
Yeah, it was interesting.
And then
they freak out. The whole town freaks out.
Well, it's because they know they're werewolves. Bucky had like told like some scary stories to the cheer team. Well, they call a town meeting because they know they're werewolves because of their town history. So then Addison's mom, who's also the mayor of the town, and her father
takes direct action
and reinstitutes anti-monster laws, which in the first movie were just anti-zombie laws. So now it's like, so you always do. There was other monsters.
We hate zombies and now werewolves. But the thing is, though, about this putting this monster law into place is people don't really seem to be worried about zombies. They're still letting them go to school and all this stuff.
Well, that's the only thing. All the businesses put up anti...
Yes.
They say humans only there.
Yes.
And then also prawn is only for humans. Even though it's mostly a school-sanctioned thing. I think it even happens at the school.
Yeah.
But then zombies are still allowed to go to school. So it's almost like
confusing.
This movie's dumb.
Yeah, there were a lot of points maybe they, I don't know, didn't fully think about. I don't know.
And then it also drew into
like
question...
Lucas said, it's like it's almost made for kids.
Dumb kids. And Addison's dad in the first movie was the chief of the zombie patrol. So it's like, well, what the fuck have they been doing? Are they just, classic cops
got
just
their
racially
pension.
profiling against zombies.
Got their pension.
But now they're like the Monster Patrol or whatever. We are introduced to one of the werewolves named Wyatt, who at first is wearing
like
human clothes.
He's wearing like a hard hat. He's trying to like look like
he works at
like
the
a
power
contractor
plant.
or something.
Which,
Right?
like,
Or
if
like
he
a
was
power
like
plant,
sneaking around in the power plant, like he should have been able to put these pieces together. But people are dumb in this movie.
So, and I guess I mean which makes sense obviously that he's working at the power plant because I think maybe that's what Moonstone is.
I think it maybe was just like a single day he snuck into town. It seemed like Jacob's like, he looks weird. I'm like, it's because he's a werewolf, but he's wearing...
Well, he had really big glasses on and really baggy clothes.
So he goes out into the forest to meet up with
the Forbidden Forest.
The other werewolves, who the main ones are Wyatt, Willa, and Winter. Now, you might remember in the first movie, all the zombies have Z's in their name. Now, all the werewolves
pretty fancy.
have W's in their name.
That's
and I spoiled it for myself, but we also... There's a teaser at the end.
Oh, no.
Addison. What letter does her name start with?
Okay.
So it was always there that Addison was an alien.
Spoiler alert.
And Bucky was a bitch. So he says, oh, yeah.
I like that, Lucas.
Well,
that's good.
Well, yeah, only the Bucky part. I wrote, I didn't write Zombies 3. Then Wyatt's like, oh, I saw this girl with white hair. She must be the great alpha.
She's our alpha. We must pray to her.
She'll lead us to the Moonstone. I'm like, slow down, movie.
Yes.
This is silly.
I was going to say, too, that Zed asks Addison to the prom, and she says no.
She says, yeah, she at the city hall meeting, he asks her, and she says, no, because of the anti-monster law.
But he's like, oh, great, no, I thought you didn't like me anymore. No, just because we got to make sure everything gets fixed. He's like, oh, all we got to do is take down a bunch of werewolves, flesh-eating werewolves, no problem.
Yeah, this movie has a lot of times where things get dropped for a bit, and then it's like, oh, did that actually matter? Because it's like, prawn, okay, that's a thing. And then it's not a thing for a while. And then there's like, Bucky's running for class president against Zed, which means that Addison can be cheer captain, but it's just like, I don't even care that much, and I don't think the movie cares that much. There could be, like, this movie is pretty short, and there's a lot just, like, condensed into it, and I don't know, it just sucks.
Yeah, there's a lot, like you said, it is fast-paced. I mean, there's a lot going on. It's not
like we're introducing a whole new set of monsters, but it's still like, we got to do the whole cheerleader shtick again in this.
Yeah. And very little football. There's only one little scene when the
I thought they were going to completely forget about football.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been against necessarily.
No, I mean, it's only part of it for like a minute. I mean, we do see the coach selling froyo. Shout out, coach.
That was a sign of progress in Seabrook as they start to have more flavors of froyo than just vanilla.
Peanut butter and bones. That was a flavor.
That's at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Back with the werewolves. We get their motivation. They need to find the Great Alpha, who is this destined person who will lead them to the Moonstone, which is what they need to refresh their own kind of mini Moonstone necklaces that, I guess, get charged up, and the charge lasts for a while. Because I think maybe they say 100 years, because they can't have actually... I would think it's probably more like 150 years, because the Moonstone was taken away from them by, like, the settlers or whatever.
True. When they took their land away.
A super clear timeline. So we got their motivation.
They're slowly losing their powers, and abilities. I don't know.
The werewolves quickly, well, maybe not super quickly, but it's not as strong of an analog, because I don't know, maybe it's a little bit more of a touchy subject, or just could be accused more of like a weird association. So first movie, pretty clearly, zombies are African Americans.
Yes, we agreed on that.
The werewolves are essentially Native Americans.
You had already kind of had the thought, but I did voice that opinion.
They later on will say, like, we were here in Seabrook first. This is werewolf territory. So, that's very accurate to American history. And even being like, oh, like, you had something of value in your land. Well, we're going to take that too.
Bad.
Like oil to power stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon.
I was going to say Killers of the Flower Moon.
Based on a true story.
That
Zombies
happened.
too.
Wow.
But they're not, I think they try to, like, not draw the comparison too much, so they're not, like, they're not wearing, stereotypical Native American attire. In some ways,
and they're not all, they're not all, like you kind of pointed out in Twilight, how all those actors and actresses that are werewolves, look Native American.
I think I haven't seen the movies.
Yeah, no. I would agree with that.
And though here they're dressed like kind of Mad Max villains and like maybe like Road Warrior, where they got kind of spiky like mohawk hair.
There's a point where Addison looks really goofy.
And they got like vests and gloves on that are like fur lined. And then they also have some paint on their face, but not like a ton. No. They also have pointy ears and prominent fangs.
They howl a lot.
True.
They do like behind the ear scratches. That was another thing.
And I think the fangs, at least in this scene, seem to have led to them ADRing a lot of their dialogue in. Because we didn't actually... Well, Jacob offhanded mentioned it in the last episode, but in Descendants 3, when Ben has his beast teeth, he sounds very silly.
It's really
So I
bad.
feel like they maybe recorded some, scene audio and be like, we can't understand what you're saying. But later on in the movie, I think maybe they got better at enunciating with the teeth in.
Yeah,
but it definitely seemed like...
looked okay, though.
Definitely seemed like Wyatt's lines were ADR'd here. They sing a song, We Own the Night, basically just saying like, hey, we're werewolves. We're dancing around trees and howling a bunch. And then they sneak into the school... Into the vents.
A vent. Yeah, and they just sleep in the vents overnight, hunched over for like 10 hours.
Which is weird, because I thought like it was kind of set up that it was summertime, but then they don't make a big deal about it being like the first day of school.
That's what it must have been. Yeah, they must have been like the first week back to school, and these were going to be the new students, because that's what they want to be. They kind of like, the way they...
So that happens at... the introductory speeches to the class president campaign between Zed and Bucky. My man.
So yeah, they just kind of bust in and they're just, I don't know, I mean, they seem very aggressive, but then
they are, and then they're like, wait, we shouldn't be.
Yes.
So that they trust us.
Hi, we're gonna be new students here.
But like all the times they're talking to each other just out loud, so like the other people should be able to hear like their evil plans.
There were several times, like Lucas had pointed out when we were watching, they're literally standing in the hall talking about how they're gonna, I don't know, just take over, or
see here.
Yeah.
So they're trying to they want to find the Great Alpha, who is Addison in their eyes, and they don't want to draw suspicion. So they're like, okay, we just want to be students at this school.
They do have moments where they get the yellow eyes and kind of like in a crouch kind of hunch, with like kind of fangs and teeth.
Willa, the main one, she's like walking through the halls scratching lockers.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very rude. Like they steal...
I don't like these werewolves.
They steal books and stuff, and they destroy people's, I don't know,
and they
personal
also act
property.
Like dogs, which I found very cringy of them, howling and scratching their ears and all that stuff. I didn't like it.
It was different.
Werewolves should be cooler. Nah, werewolves
But yeah, I mean, they kind of put off, they get that scary kind of look, but I mean, I don't know. One of them, I can't remember her name, but like she would try to act scary, but she like wasn't really kind of scary. I don't remember what her name was. Not the main girl or guy, but.
So this reminded me of, I don't know if I've told it on the podcast, but I was our high school senior class
You
president,
were.
Which I ran for solely...
To beat a friend.
To beat Bucky, no. Because our friend Sean, I think I had told this on the podcast.
Possibly.
He wanted to run, or he was running, and I said, I bet I could beat you. So I ran, and I did beat him.
You beat him.
And...
Yeah, then we
talked about it, about how I maybe couldn't give the speech or whatever. But then it also meant, apparently, that I have to plan all of our class reunions, which I have.
And you never will. So we'll never have a reunion. It's been 10 years. It's been
the class
12
reunion.
Years.
It can be people listening to this podcast episode to hear me say, recorded to time, I ain't planning shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I that's kind of a weird thing to put on the class president. It should be like, I don't know.
We don't need to dwell on it.
No, we don't need to. If somebody wants to, they would. Yes. Our class just seems like a bunch of lazy toads.
We need a Zed for our class.
Yeah.
Speaking of Zed, he is convinced that by winning the werewolf block, he can become class president. Even though there only seems to be about 12 werewolves, which isn't a ton, but it's still impressive that they all fit inside of the vent earlier in the movie.
When he goes to visit them, they're still out in the woods, aren't they?
No, they seem to have been given like a shack in Zombie Town.
Okay, is that what it is? Yeah, I couldn't remember where I remember he visits them, but yeah, I don't remember where it was.
And to convince them, he sings a song called Like the Zombies Do, which is essentially saying
assimilate.
Like, hey, us zombies, we got this figured out. You can fit in too. Just don't be scary all the time. And you know what? Like most of the music in this movie, it's not that good.
There are
but
a couple
everybody's
good
in
songs.
it. Everybody's dancing. I found especially, well, because I had seen more of the movie towards the end, that so much of this movie, the music just is like, everything's like a music video, like how it's shot. And everybody's like big dancing.
There's one towards
singing.
the end that's like really like, okay, this was like, should be a 500 million YouTube music video, you know. I don't know.
Probably is.
You know.
Where we had talked about in like Descendants 1. I think I had heard that wasn't originally supposed to be a musical. So some of those songs just feel like pushed into it. But even then, like this is a musical, but so much of it just feels like these self-contained music videos that are maybe designed to just be plucked out for them to put on YouTube to sell the singles to the kids or whatever. That like nothing just like fits together. It's just like scene, song.
The songs don't move the plot along. Is that kind of what you're saying?
And that wasn't the case with the original one either. But this one, I don't even feel like the dancing and choreography is like that good, or maybe it's just diminishing returns.
There is one,
already.
you know, for that big. I think it's for the big music video, kind of towards the, or the music video-esque one towards the end where they're slapping water and they're sliding around and doing some
which is just
spinneroos.
Descendants 2 stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Paul Hohen, I'm on your side. I say fuck Kenny Ortega, but now you're just yanking,
ripping him off.
Yeah, you're chewing
ripping
on his
bone.
Exactly.
Like a werewolf.
I didn't know what I was gonna say, so thanks for jumping in.
Yeah.
But the werewolves, they're kind of playing along in this song, but they're rolling their eyes a lot of the time because
they don't
think
seem
they're
to
the
be
best.
in it. They do, yeah.
They're proud werewolves, and they're like, we're just trying to get the great alpha, so we'll entertain this dumb zombie kid.
Yes.
Addison is trying out for cheer captain, and the werewolves are all in the bleachers of the gym. But she says, you can be in cheer too, and that's all they need. The werewolves love to dance too, and that's all cool. But then there starts to seem to be, at least in Zed's eyes, maybe a love triangle between him, Addison, and Wyatt. Though Wyatt mostly just thinks she's the great alpha.
And I think that's what it was. But yeah, Zed kind of maybe misinterprets, that Wyatt's kind of hitting on her. There's a point where Wyatt's in the library and kind of just creeping on her, I guess, and she kind of catches him because he's reading a book upside down. And then later here he's kind of...
She does a bit of, well, that just happened.
Yeah, looks into the camera, winks. Yeah, so Zed approaches Addison in the hallway and is like, oh, what's going on with him? I mean, them. It's like,
I hate werewolves. I mean... Not werewolves.
Yeah.
Bucky. So that we got drama, we getting clashing, so they sing a song, and this is one where it's more just stuck to the two of them in a duet. This is called Gotta Find Where I Belong. It's a classic, midway through the movie, emotional ballad. Whatever. It's fine. I think we both like this more, probably just because it was kind of more toned down compared to the more bombastic numbers. And it ends with Addison being... Well, first there's Growl and Scratch at her door, but it's just the werewolves being like, hey, come with us. It's like, well, why are you being so scary?
The den. Yeah, it is really weird. Yeah, I mean, like, there are several moments like where it is kind of seems like a creepy movie. Like you said, the bus ride was shot kind of creepy. This one, it's a knock at the door.
I just
looks around.
It looked bad.
And there's a scratch on the
like
door.
A bad horror movie.
Then she sets down her marshmallow cup of hot cocoa.
I was going to let you get there.
Thank you. And and then there's like 12 of them just standing in front of her house.
And they're like, come to the forest with us. And she says,
playing her den. Talk to the old people, the wise ones.
Yes. They go into the wolf den, which if you've seen, I think you should leave. Oddly, it looks like the sci-fi restaurant in season 2 that Tim Heidecker's in that sketch. Where it's just like, well, I guess it's like a wolf den, but it's kind of like moon themed.
I thought it looked pretty cool inside.
Yeah, it looks like where I'd want to have like an 8-year-old's birthday party.
It looks pretty cool. Yeah, the moon's kind of shining. Then they start hearing explosions. Stuff starts blowing up right when they're in here. Remember the power plant, or was that a little bit later? I thought they were in the den.
Yeah, you're skipping a few things.
Maybe that was. I was like, I think that happened in the den though.
So they tell her, hey, you're the great alpha. You're supposed to lead us to this moonstone. Okay, here's a song called Call to the Wild. It's saying that you're a werewolf and you should join us. And at the end of it...
Her hair.
They use like werewolf magic to give her like long braided hair and then like a similar vest Mad Max style getup.
It was a pretty smooth transition. They kind of just surround her, and then all of a sudden, boom, she's like in this. All this new stuff has happened to her. So I don't know. I mean, it definitely threw me off.
Well, it's because it's just like I definitely knew, and Jacob was like, "Is she a werewolf or is she
an alien?"
Where I'm like, "Well, she's not a werewolf." But I guess they can just make her look like one.
Yeah. So that's all I'm like, is she? What is she? We didn't know what she was.
Zed wanted to make up with Addison, but she wasn't at her house. And then Bree, who is sometimes in this movie, misinterpreted a text thinking that Addison needed help, but really she needed help with science.
Yeah. So she has her moonstone necklace, but she doesn't wear it yet.
So they arrive right as she's changed into werewolf clothes. So Zed's like, motherfucker, making my girl look like a werewolf. So he busts in, throws off his zombie wristband that controls the zombie powers, and starts
he throws somebody. He throws somebody across the thing, and all the werewolves are getting ready to fight. Everybody's ready to throw down. I think is this his first or second time he zombies out? He does
I believe it's his first.
He does it a couple other times too in the movie, and I even in the first movie I did like the transition from human to zombie. I think it looks cool, pretty flawless. I think it's a cool transition. I do.
That escalated quickly.
I think it's a cool.
I thought it was like, up there with like 2001 Jurassic Park level of special effects.
Jurassic Park holds
You said
up.
It was flawless.
I thought it looked cool.
Okay, now we're dialing it back a bit.
I thought it looked good for a Disney Channel original movie.
I couldn't remember. I'd have to compare. I think it looks a little worse than this one, but that could be either here or
He's not the only one that zombies out in this movie, though.
No, but Addison puts his wristband back on him and be like, "Hey, I chose to come here. They didn't steal me away."
Yes.
And she says, "My hair means something."
Oh, God.
I've always wondered why my hair's like this. It's because I'm a werewolf. Okay, whatever. And that's why
because the werewolves do have white streaks in their hair. Some of them do.
Well, it's only because they believe she's the Great Alpha. That's what her hair means. It doesn't mean she's a werewolf because she has white hair.
Correct.
And this was like, how do werewolves work in this? Because it's like zombies. Zombies don't seem to make any sense with how they work in this movie. That was well established in the first movie. But in this, is like werewolves don't just turn during the full moon. They store up moon energy in their necklaces, so then they can turn.
Yeah.
But when they turn, it mostly just their eyes change color.
Yes.
They don't grow more hair or anything. They don't necessarily seem to get stronger. They just seem to be a little thriller eyes, a little scarier.
Yellow eyes.
Or if they don't have it, they die. Which is werewolves. You just are always a werewolf. It's not something you need the werewolf power to survive.
I think while they're in the den.
But silver, they still don't like silver.
No, they touch a trophy at one point and their hands start burning.
Only in Seabrook would the second place trophy actually be made out of silver.
But I think we do see some of them kind of getting weaker with their powers while they're in the den here.
Moon withdrawals.
Yeah. Is this where the explosions start happening?
Yes.
Yes. So the explosions are the power plant, obviously, where they believe the moonstone to be underneath.
And I guess they must just be preliminary explosions done in the middle of night, which
I mean, they were loud.
I guess it's in the zombie side of town, so maybe they're just we don't care about their sleep. Up. Maybe zombies don't even sleep.
Oh, maybe they don't.
I don't know. What if a zombie played football? So, yeah, they put the pieces together being oh, the moonstone's in the power plant. Oh no, they're gonna blow up the power plant.
We must go to the power plant.
Here's a moonstone. I don't know if I want to be a wolf yet.
We will give you one day to make your decision. Here's that ticking clock thing.
Someday.
Oh,
not yet.
So yeah, it's a ticking clock scenario now. Lucas likes to talk about 24 hours.
Well, it's not a ticking clock. She's just I'll think about it.
Just one day though to make her decision.
And yeah, it's not even there's a ticking clock for the power plant because that's just that blows on its own. Anyways, so then Addison
shows Zed excitedly.
Zed's got a debate coming up. Zed steals her stone.
Yeah, secretly though. She doesn't. She shows him, and then he gives her the box or whatever the thing back, and we don't know yet that he's stolen it.
Because he's mad because he doesn't want her to be a werewolf because she's missing his debate, and
because she wants to.
She says he maybe doesn't want to be a cheerleader.
He thinks
anymore.
She wants to bone Wyatt.
He doesn't know what she is anymore. But you know who I know? Who is? Me. What?
You. Wow.
No.
You are you?
I'm winning because I got to see a scene with Bucky. So the debate happens between Bucky and Zed, and it's a rap battle.
Bucky has scary posters now of Zed.
Yeah, whatever. I don't fucking care.
Makes him look like a real scary zombie.
It's such a dumb thing because he's like, oh, here's a poster of him being a scary zombie. And it's like, well, half the school seems to be zombies. They would know, but they still seem to be scared of Zed. And it's like, you guys can turn into zombies. And it's like, the humans would know. Like, if they want to be racist to zombies, this was always on the table. I guess, that's what... Zombies are kind of monsters. Oh, thanks, Bucky. It's just stupid. But this scene is pretty fun.
Zed... Oh, I don't know if you're going to go into kind of the dancing, but I was going to say, Zed wins the debate.
They actually do this completely stationary.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's both like them kind of giving their talking points to each other, but then the crowd joins in, like, backsides, and Zed
it's fun.
Comes out at the end. But there's some weird trade-offs between it where it's like Bucky's being like, I'm saying the thing about why I'm cool, and then the other person will just be like,
no homework.
I'm winning. And
no
then
homework.
It just kind of gets muddled where it is almost like, I'm winning. No, I'm winning. You're winning. Ha, I got you to say it. I'm winning.
So everybody does get on Zed's side. Like, they have like posters they kind of hold up. So Zed wins this debate, but then towards the very end, he accidentally sticks his hand in his pocket and
starts jerking off.
Yeah, he starts masturbating. No.
He pulls a Tubin, Jeffrey Tubin.
So that moonstone necklace that he stole from Addison, earlier in the movie, we were told by the werewolves that it can affect electronics. So this thing gets stuck to the electronic
Just so I can do that
fan.
In this scene, yeah.
Basically.
They never do it again.
No. Well, they do break the alarm so they can steal the books, okay? So, but yes, it shortens out his bracelet thing, and then he starts going full zombie. And Bucky, like everybody else, is freaking out. And Bucky's like, I know you won't hurt me, big guy. Yeah, show him what you really like. Yeah, throw that frickin' the podium. Throw that thing. Yeah. And then he throws it, and then that girl kind of calms him down, I think. Take off the moon thing. Take it off. And he calms down, and everybody kind of calms down, but he loses the election.
Oh, we don't even necessarily, like, they just assume he's like, I fucked up.
Yeah.
I lost.
Yeah, he lost.
And yeah, the vote happens off screen. You would have thought this movie was all about him beating Bucky, but it really wasn't. You'd think this movie was all about werewolves, but it also kind of wasn't. I don't know. This movie, it's not good. Then the werewolves are breaking into the power plant.
Yeah.
Because that was going to be their plan, and they're doing it in the middle of the day.
Well, and it was weird because...
But they say, Addison, you can't come with us because you're not a true werewolf, because where's your stone? You lost your stone.
True.
Fuck you. They sing a song called Flesh and Bone, because...
We like that one, right?
No.
No.
This is the one that was the most music video-like.
Oh.
Because they're going up to the power plant, seems to have tripped an alarm of some kind.
This is where they're slapping the water?
Yeah.
I like that.
So the former zombie patrol is there, and
it
starts off just the werewolves doing their thing. It'd be like, rah, rah, we're werewolves. We're not just flesh and bone, or I don't know. We're going to beat you. But then they spray them with like aerosolized silver.
That's what they say.
And then they put them in handcuffs.
My dad says that.
But then everybody shows up. We got Addison.
The whole school. It's literally...
We got Zed. We got cheerleaders.
So many extras.
We got zombies. We got zombies.
Like so many extras.
We don't got Bucky, though. And then it's just like everybody teaming up through the power. Like, this is the one where it's like, even thinking about musical logic, like, they're not accomplishing anything. Like, there's a point where they turn a water valve. So there's a bunch of water flowing
for no
somewhere.
Reason.
Not like
they dance in it though. They slip and slide and do
dancing in
headstands and break dancing in it. You know, so that was cool.
They're in their control room banging on stuff.
Yeah, that was.
It seems like they got into the power plant.
Yes,
but no, they're still not in the power plant, and it's just stupid.
They make a case though. They convince them not to blow it up. Both papas say no, no, no. Everything will be okay, and then they leave the building.
But then, so Zed's dad is the foreman of the construction team, and he has a guy come up who's like, "Oh my God,
it's gonna blow!
I can't stop the detonation." So then they're just away from the power plant, and it just blows up anyway.
Yeah, it blows up, and we see it. It looks very hokey. At first, I thought they were still in it, because like they never show them leaving it, and we see it off in the distance crumbling.
It's shot and edited around very awkwardly because it's like they're running towards something, which I thought like they hadn't got that far away, so I thought the explosion would be behind them. But it's like, nope, they're running towards it, and they're like 2 blocks away already.
So as soon as it blows up, all the werewolves kind of like their power bracelets go weak, I guess, and they turn yellow and they're all like weak all of a sudden.
Yeah, they're all like druggies going through withdrawal.
Because, yeah, I mean, the Moonstone Shrine thing is basically getting rattled all
But like Wyatt and Willa are mostly okay. I don't know.
Who knows, man?
But they're going to die.
Yeah.
Because the Moonstone's broken. Except the Moonstone's not really broken. And
they just think it is. It's all in their heads,
I don't know.
man.
I guess all of the rubble would have made it hard for them to find.
All a placebo, man.
Do werewolves only exist here? Or are there other places with moonstones? Or is it just like how zombies only exist in Seabrook because of like the soda pop accident or whatever?
Yeah, so then they have to go like save it. There was a point kind of in here where...
Well, they're at Prawn. They go to Prawn.
Yeah.
But not Zed. But actually, Zed does go.
Zed reveals to Addison at some point that he stole the necklace. Might have been earlier.
Yeah, so that happens right after the explosion. Where he's like, here's your necklace. And she's like, oh, you found it.
And he's like, well, I stole it.
I can't believe you thought my hair wasn't special because I'm a werewolf. I'm going to show you right now by being a werewolf. Put on necklace. Oh, I guess I'm not a werewolf. And then Bree's like, you're still so pretty. And I'm like,
oh,
what?
God.
Okay, so yeah, the werewolves hate her because she's not actually a werewolf. So I guess they actually didn't need the Great Alpha. Or maybe she was the Great Alpha, just not a werewolf. But they'll find the Moonstone. But yes, Prawn is happening. We see President Bucky going in. But zombies are still not allowed at Prawn. But Zed meets up with the werewolves and says...
Let's rip this place apart.
He says, like, I thought I wasn't a monster. I thought I had risen beyond being a monster because zombies were accepted. But hey, we're all monsters. Let's go bust this party.
So they go to the party. I don't remember what happens. Earthquake!
Well, before that, Zed apologizes to Addison.
Okay.
Says, I was trying to not admit I was a monster, but I am. Cheerleaders and monsters, they're kind of the same.
There's a song at the prom.
They reprise Someday from the first movie.
And that was good. We liked that.
Which made it the best song in this movie.
We like that.
At one point, Addison says, I don't even know if I'm a cheerleader. I'm like, bitch, if I know anything about you, it's that you're a cheerleader.
True preach.
Even if you're an alien, you're a cheerleader.
Yes.
And then, yes, suddenly there's an earthquake, which apparently was caused by the Moonstone that, like, sends out a tunnel to the school. They're
very convenient.
Able to crawl through to get to the Moonstone. But only the werewolves say, no, we'll go. Fuck you guys. We're werewolves. But then...
everybody goes.
They find the Moonstone. Oh, it's too heavy to lift out of here. Even though we've recharged our werewolf powers. What are werewolf powers even good for?
Yeah,
I don't know.
They don't have any strength. So, of course, you gotta leave it up to Zed.
And, like, yeah, everybody's there, but it's like they had to be, like, 30 seconds behind them. Like,
yeah.
Werewolves, don't you got, like, good hearing or something?
Can't you run really fast? Can't you? Oh, maybe not at that point. They could, but...
My next note says, bunch of bullshit. Essentially, I believe there's another tremor after they got the stone out, or they get blocked in there by Big Rock. Zed takes his band off, but he's able to control his powers, and he moves the rock.
And everybody gets out but him. Then it collapses because he's so weak and he's trapped. But not really. Because there's a dust cloud and he emerges and he looks so cool. He's the hero, the big Hero.
I can't remember. I assume he puts his band back on?
Yes.
And then they go back to Prawn, I think. And then the song is One for All.
Dance again.
Zombies. They've solved racism once again.
You love
to see it. 2 movies, 2 times racism has been thwarted. That's another kind of just poppy music video thing. Lots of dancing. Fairly unremarkable. I went to the bathroom during that. Jacob told me that they get pizza. And then also Addison and Zed kiss.
Yeah.
And... apparently stuff about new Froyo flavors.
Yes, the peanut butter and bones.
And we don't get I feel like there was something special with the credits in the first movie. But this, before the credits start, we just get a basic tease. We see a meteor crash outside of Seabrook, shining blue. It leads to some weird stuff with like the alarm clock in Addison's room. And she wakes up.
Her hair is glowing.
Well, that just happened, and then her hair glows blue. So you didn't even need to necessarily, like, Da Vinci Code the letters of her name to know she might be an alien. By the end of this movie, there's also, like, the classic like woo, space music going along in the background.
So that's,
And that was Zombies 2.
Lucas is very underwhelmed.
I'm defeated.
He's very underwhelmed. He's
I
not
was
happy
already a
about
little
it.
underwhelmed by the first one. This one, even worse. Next one, I think the werewolves are still around in that one, so I don't know how they're going to balance. I mean, they got like 4 more minutes in the next one, so that'll be enough to balance out adding aliens into the mix.
I wonder if they'll ever have a like another one.
I mean, nobody's dead in their cast yet.
Oh my god.
But I don't think anything's been announced. And these came out at a pretty... The Descendants movies were like 2 years apart, but these I think they just did like... Well, I can't remember.
Yeah,
Maybe 1 or 2 years apart.
Pump 'em out.
There. I think technically even like... We're getting into that point where like Zombies 3 premiered on Disney Plus before Disney Channel.
Okay.
But then still premiered on Disney Channel. So we're getting to the point now where it's like... I mean, it was already... starting to lose meaning, but like Disney Channel original movies post Disney Plus kind of have lost like a lot of...
Yeah, they're only getting a couple 100,000 views, now. It's kind of sad,
I just mean like the fact that like they don't even premiere on Disney Channel first.
Oh, yeah.
It's more just, content for the content mill. And yeah, this movie's not good. Don't know what to tell you. Zombie heads, I'm sorry.
A couple good songs I enjoyed. Some fun effects, but yeah, it just seemed like there was no order to it. Just, I don't know, there wasn't, like I said, a lot of the songs
They had points to hit. They had songs maybe already made
a lot
ahead
of
of time.
A lot of the songs didn't, like I said, didn't push the story forward. Yeah, it was a mess.
I'm trying to remember what's next, but I think we're finally getting back to like
modern movies.
Well, we get like a slight like respite where like the last stretch of movies we've had have all been like franchise stuff. It's been like 3 Descendants movies, 2 Zombies movies, or remakes. Adventures in Babysitting, Freaky Friday, Kim Possible. So I can't remember what's next, but I think it's finally just like a movie.
So the next couple, we have one called Upside Down Magic.
Yes. So that's just a movie.
Spin.
Also,
and then Under Wraps.
Yeah, and then we get back to remakes. And then we'll get a Zombies 3, we'll get an Under Wraps 2, so then... But I've heard some stuff about the 2 DCOMs released in 2023 that sound kind of promising, so...
Prompact and The Slumber Party.
Yeah, so something to look forward to get a little bit of break from the musical stuff. Or just... Yeah, most of the movies we've had in the last 5 or so have been musicals, so... We'll take a break. And we'll soon take a break from this podcast, but not too quick now, because, well, first, we gotta never remember, could the werewolves, we'll say, could Willa, Winter, and Wyatt have stopped 9/11?
I don't think so.
No, I don't know what being a werewolf, what benefit that has for you.
You look kind of scary.
You have to live in the woods your whole life.
Yeah, you look spooky.
Not even that spooky. You just look like... You look like you're going to Burning Man or something. You look like somebody that personally I wouldn't want to hang out with.
Yeah, that's a no for me, dog. I mean, especially if they were going through these withdrawals, they would certainly fit in with the Burning Man crowd. They might help.
It's a no from me for the dogs.
Ooh.
Werewolves are like dogs.
Yes.
But I like dogs more than the werewolves.
We do like dogs. Lucas and I are big dog lovers.
Something else will... I don't even remember what I said earlier. Skip. We won't talk about the email address, but we will talk about
X. Ooh.
Coca-Cola. So we've had a couple of the different flavors. I'm trying to remember Coca-Cola. They're just fucking crazy.
They have a lot of.
They're high off
flavors.
the gourd. They're like, hey, we're better than Pepsi. Our special flavors don't even have to fucking make sense.
This one doesn't make any sense.
Well, neither did Dreams or...
Have you looked into this one to spoil what the flavor is?
No, I know nothing about it. So, in my hand, I didn't even notice that this was a special one at first. I passed it in the store, and I'm like, is that just caffeine-free Coke? Because caffeine-free has
it's like a
brown label.
Yeah, brown label.
And this is a brown label, but this is Ultimate Limited Edition Coca-Cola Plus XP
Ultimate
flavor.
Limited Edition. That's like super, super, super
rare.
I don't know. Ultimate
Limited. So this
Limited.
is tied to League of Legends. I don't know
video
if there
game.
was like a big... I know Dota has like the international every
like
year.
a new drop or something.
I
or
would
a new
think Jacob
update.
would be able to fill me in because
I don't
Jacob,
really know about LOL.
due to his crippling gambling addiction during the height
During
of the pandemic
COVID.
in 2020,
Yeah,
when there weren't actual sports to bet on, you were betting on League of
I
Legends.
was,
stuff,
yeah.
so
I was winning.
If you're putting money in, you should know what you're betting on, right?
I mean, that was like 4 years ago.
I'm jungle in here. So yeah, plus XP flavored literally could taste
Like
like
shit.
anything. They don't do like the Mountain Dew.
Do you feel like we're going to actively level up as we're drinking this? Do you feel like you're going to reach a height of consciousness?
No, I'm already at max level.
Wow.
I'm definitely losing experience as time goes along.
And especially watching a movie like this.
Jacob, though.
I need it. Need that bottle.
The ceiling's so high for Jacob. He's going to go Super Saiyan level 2 here.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, we'll crack this open.
Ooh, got a nice little fizz to it. How does it smell?
I mean, it is a carbonated soda.
Give it a sniff. Stinky?
It just smells like Coke.
It's going to taste like Coke.
I didn't really like the Move one that much. I did like the Dreams one a lot. That was the one that kind of tasted more like a peach ring.
The other one was like the...
I don't even remember.
S'more?
I don't even remember what... That was Galaxy or whatever.
Galaxy.
I don't even remember what the Move one tasted like.
I don't know. Is this really what Coke normally smells like?
I mean, I don't smell my soda that often.
Should we taste it?
No, we're just going to pour it out
Smell it?
like we're
gonna
ancient
whiff it.
Greeks at a funeral. All right.
Whoa, that's weird.
I don't really get anything.
There's a flavor there. I don't drink a lot of Coke, but I don't know. I don't think it tastes like Coke, does it?
No. If anything, it kind of just tastes like it could be flat Coke or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm gonna look up to see what the flavor is. What was it
Because I
called?
have had the bottle for a little while, but I don't think it would have gone flat.
What was the name of it? Power Up
Plus XP.
Plus XP.
I mean, I definitely don't think Coke releases like what actually it is. People can like say what it tastes like, but
Yeah, I mean it's not that old. It's just from June.
I actually did buy another bottle of the Baja Caribbean Splash. or whatever.
Okay, you like that one?
I did. I enjoyed that the second time. I had that after our camping trip. That was good. Well, while Jacob's looking up the spoilers for the soda flavor, I will run down our normal housekeeping information. So you can write us at awholenewpod@gmail.com, but who emails anymore? Nobody, to us at least. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, other podcast platforms of your choice. If you have the option to rate us or review us on there, go ahead and do that. You can also find us on youtube.com/awholenewpod, where you can comment, like, and subscribe there. Did get one recent comment on a video where there was a suggestion given to review all the Nickelodeon TV movies. I'm not going to commit to that because there's at least like 70 of them, but we could look at some of them. Of course, we've talked about Good Burger, but I believe Good Burger was an actual theatrical movie, so
likely. I did find what other people say it kind of maybe tastes like.
Give it to me.
So some people, and this is from an article, they kind of polled some people. A lot of people said bubble gum tasted a little bit, maybe taste a little bit more.
Well, now they've incepted it into me.
Yes. So bubblegum or banana Laffy Taffy flavored.
I like how they have to specify Laffy Taffy.
Yeah.
I could just say banana. There's a whole history of like what banana Laffy Taffy or like banana runts tastes like. It's actually like a type of banana that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, really?
Like, I can't remember if it was like the result of the whole thing about like genetically modified organisms. It isn't like what people are actually upset about. Like shouldn't be. They think like they are unhealthy for you. Like, literally anything you've eaten is genetically modified in some way. Like, I don't need to go into this tangent. But what is a bigger issue is that they can maybe become too homogenized, or there's also, like, you know, people who have patents on certain strains of vegetables or fruit. So what essentially happened is there was a horrible, like, blight or something happened to a harvest of these bananas where essentially, like, they all died, and we don't have that kind of banana anymore. So that's something that if we have more homogenized fruits, we're creating... It's kind of like the whole thing with using antibiotics on too much stuff. In this case, it's like, well, if we put all of our bananas in one basket or something, we could potentially like lead to super parasites that they just eat the bananas right up like they're Donkey Kong or something. Yeah, I think we covered all the housekeeping stuff. We gave a victory to Al Qaeda.
Yeah.
And
Yeehaw.
with that, I'll just sign off saying, like zoinks!
Hey, Scoo!
Zombies and werewolves! And that was a bit
my.
like Bill Cosby. Zoinks!
Like zoinks, hey,
Bubble gum in
Scoo!
my Coke!
Lucas
right.
really felt himself.
Zoinks!
Like,
I'll let you get a drink.
my throat got like really weird there for like a second.
It's hard, when you actually talk.
Had like a lumpus in my throaticus.
You good?
Yeah, we're good. I think so. I hope so. Yeah, I don't know. It's like a weird like a.
Okay, well, I'm asking if you're good so that you're not just constantly clearing your throat. And if you need to clear your throat, you can just hit the mute button.
I think we're good to go.
Okay.
I hope so.
Okay, whenever you say you're good to go, then you do that.
I don't know. It's a weird. I don't know what's happening. I talk
turning
at
into
work.
a werewolf.
I am. I'm changing. I'm like going through puberty again. I don't know what's happening right now.
All right. Woo.